Hey everybody, today is Free Ride Friday, so make sure you hang on to the end of the episode so you can hear who won this week's free ride to the $100 MBA Training and Community. Every Friday on the show, we do a weekly random draw to say thank you for leaving us iTunes rating and review. If you left us an iTunes rating and review, you enter our random draw and you can win a free lifetime membership to the $100 MBA. That's over 180 video lessons, interviews with experts, workbooks, our community on Facebook, a whole lot more. If you want to win, just leave us an iTunes rating and a review, and you too can win a free ride. All right, guys, let's get into today's episode. Hey-o! Welcome to the $100 MBA Show, the business podcast that makes your life and your business a whole lot easier because we share with you the tips, the strategies, the tactics to help you build a better business every single day with our daily 10-minute business lessons for the real world. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. And in today's episode, you will learn 4 killer hacks for easier writing. This lesson is being taught because you demanded it. A lot of our listeners have been asking, how can I make writing easier? I struggle in front of my screen. I don't know how to write a blog post properly, or I don't know how to get my ideas down easily. I get writer's block and I just don't get it. This even happens to people when they're writing their descriptions for their videos on YouTube or their podcast episodes or even an email. We had a lot of episodes about how to write better copy, but this episode's all about how to make your life easier. Some easy hacks to just get your ideas on paper so you can get the ball rolling and get away from that whole writer's block situation. These are hacks I use personally and they really help. So I can't wait to get into it, guys. Let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by the awesome people at SumoMe, the #1 tool to grow your website's traffic and your email list. SumoMe powers over 393,000 websites. Their tools are simply awesome. We use them in our business, and later on I'm going to share with you the results we've had. Best of all, it's free. Get started with their basic plan over at sumome.com. Again, that's sumome.com. I want to preface today's lesson with that the hacks I'm going to be sharing with you today, the whole purpose of sharing them with you is to get you started, to get the ball rolling. You're not going to need these hacks once you get comfortable getting down to business and writing when you need to write. These hacks really helped me when I was starting out, when I had to publish a blog post every single week and I would sit there in front of my screen and say, I have no idea how to start. I don't know what to write. I don't know how to communicate what's in my head onto the screen. But after about a month and a half or so, about 6 weeks of using these hacks, I didn't need them anymore. They're kind of like training wheels. I got more confident and more comfortable with my writing. And this is why I'm sharing this with you. I want you to get to that point as fast as possible. So let me jump into the first writing hack. The first writing hack is go for the peak first. When I say peak, I mean the peak of a mountain. Now, before I go into the details of what that means, I gotta credit my good friend Chase Reeves over at Fizzle.co. Chase is the first person who introduced this hack to me. And it's a really, really good one. It's #1 for a reason. So what does it mean to go for the peak first? So when we write, we start with an idea. There's one main idea, one thing I'm trying to accomplish with this article, for example. And it's the thing. So for example, if the blog post headline is how to get sponsorships for your podcast. Say, for example, that's my blog article. That's the peak of the mountain. That's the information. And I would just get started with that. I'll just start with the meat first, with the climax of the story, so to speak. So I'd write all the tactics, all the strategies of how to get sponsorship for your podcast. And I know in your head, you're saying, well, I can't just write that on my blog post. I have to work up to it. I have to have some sort of conclusion. Yes, it's coming. But you just got to get the ball rolling. So you know what you want to write about, the topic. So just go into the meat. Go into what you have to do, what the center or the middle of your blog post is going to be about. And there's nothing wrong with just explaining it in list form. Like, here's strategy #1 for getting sponsorships. Here's strategy #2. And just start writing. Start writing the meat of the actual article. Once you have the peak of the mountain, once you have the climax of the story, this is what everybody's looking for. You can work backwards now. Now you've written maybe about 500 words, and it's about this topic. Now start working on the incline of the mountain. Start writing about that topic, the introduction to sponsorship for podcasts. Why would you want a sponsorship? What are some of the misconceptions people have about sponsorships and podcasting? And basically, you're moving towards that bulk of the article that you already written, the peak. You're moving towards the peak, and that's how you kind of write your introduction. And once you finish that, you move on to the decline, moving away from the peak. So you skip down after your bulk of the article and write down how do you kind of close out that article. It could be a conclusion, a summary, your thoughts. But the point here is that start with the peak first. This helps you a lot. All right, strategy number 2 to make things easier for you in your writing. This may seem like a cheat, but it helps you get the ball rolling. And that's speak it, don't write it. So there are 2 options here. You can either use a dictation app. Apple's iOS has become really good at dictation recently. So there's an option in your preferences in Apple where you can dictate speech and it will write it down. You have to speak a bit slowly and clearly like I'm doing right now, but it will do it accurately. You have the same feature on your phone. It's that little microphone that's a part of the keyboard. And sometimes just speaking your article out and just jotting down information as if you're being interviewed for a podcast or something like that is a lot easier than writing. Once it's in text form, you can reorganize your ideas and edit later on. A lot of people find this very useful. If for some reason you don't want to use the dictation app or you don't have it, you can always just record an audio file, either with your phone or on your computer. And once you have it in audio format, you can send it off to be transcribed. This service is quite inexpensive these days. You can go on Fiverr.com, that's Fiverr with 2 R's, and they have people that transcribe things all the time. They have some really, really affordable rates. And for $5 or $10, you can have your blog post transcribed. And at that point, you can edit and you can move things around. But the point here is that don't let the fact that writing or writer's block gets to you. Speak it out and convert it into text form. Now, this is a little secret a lot of people don't know. A lot of best-selling authors write their books this way. They just record it. And they have a writer or an editor put it all together after they've put all their ideas on the actual recording. So it's a very common hack even for professionals. All right, let's move on to number 3. This hack I call what, why, how, your thoughts. Let me explain. Sometimes you just need to jot down some notes under some certain headlines. And these headlines are what, why, how, your thoughts, in that order. So if you just wrote that on your screen or on a piece of paper, this will help you organize your thoughts. So if I write what, under what, I would write, what am I talking about? What is this thing you're talking about? So in my example of how to get sponsorships for podcasts, I have to explain, what does that really mean? What are sponsorships on podcasts? It might not be a lengthy explanation, but I have to explain what this topic is all about. If I'm writing an article on customer onboarding, for example, I have to explain what customer onboarding is. And this could be maybe 2 or 3 sentences. Next, under the heading of why, I have to write, why is this important? Why am I even sharing this with you? Why am I writing about this? This could be a story, like you had an experience where you failed in an area and then you learned a lesson and this is what you're sharing with them. The next heading is how. How do you actually do what you're talking about? This is more of the peak. This is the meat of the article. How do you actually pull off what you're trying to teach? And lastly, your thoughts. At the end, you have to share yourself a little bit. Talk about what your experience has been. What are your thoughts on this topic? What's your opinion? And have an opinion. A lot of people don't share their opinion because they feel like maybe they'll alienate themselves. But people respect people that have an opinion. And again, you're not going to resonate with everybody, so you have to take a stand. People will respect you for it. So again, those headings are what, why, how, your thoughts. Guys, I got one more killer hack to make writing easier for you. But before that, let me give love to today's sponsor, SumoMe.com. We've been using SumoMe for both our websites, the $100 MBA and Webinar Ninja, for a little over 2 years now. And let me tell you, it's the #1 reason our email list has been growing so fast. Now, of course, I'm offering some great value in exchange for their email, but the tool makes it super simple. It looks clean and amazing on your website, and it offers all these different options for you to collect email addresses from your visitors. It's super simple to integrate. It works on any website, whether it's WordPress or otherwise. And once you set it up, which takes about 3 minutes, it's over. It's kind of like you set it and forget it. And then you start wondering, why didn't you do this earlier? Your email list starts growing faster than you could believe. Now, SumoMe is not some sort of magic software. It just enables you to ask people for their email in a nice, clean, professional way. Most of us just don't ask, and we don't give people an opportunity to be a part of our community, to get more great stuff from us. We get bogged down by the technical aspects or even how to do it. SumoMe takes care of all of that, and it's free. There's absolutely no catch. They give you access to all their tools for free. Once you start blowing up as a business, you can go to their pro plan and get special features. But all the features you would need to get started is there in your free plan forever. So what are you waiting for? Go to sumome.com and sign up. Again, that's sumome.com. All right, guys, to wrap up today's lesson, let me give you the fourth killer hack to making writing easier, and that's the AIDA formula. We talked about this before on the $100 MBA show. If you're looking for a great book that explains what the AIDA formula is in detail, there's a great book by Neville Medora called This Book Will Teach You to Write Better. But really quick, what AIDA stands for is AIDA. A is attention, I is interest, D is desire, and A is for action. And it's a great formula to use to compose any piece of writing, whether it's an email, a YouTube description, a blog post. So what you want to do first is get people's attention. Start your article with attention, and this gives you some sort of format to follow. Then you get their interest by giving them some facts, giving them some interesting ideas or interesting information about what you're writing about. D is desire. Then you want to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit and make them desire to do what you're asking them to do. And then A is action. You give them some sort of call to action, what to do next, whether it is sign up for your newsletter or subscribe to your show or your channel, whatever it is, give them some action. Now, I can't go into all the intricacies and the details of the AIDA formula, but I definitely would recommend you pick up that book I just mentioned by Neville Medora. This book will teach you how to write better. It's a really short read, but it really will help you, especially when you're just getting started. Guys, that wraps up today's lesson. I hope you loved it. But today's episode is not over because it's Free Ride Friday. I got to give away a lifetime membership to the $100 MBA Training and Community. Let's see who won this week's free ride. And the winner is Snezok. That's their handle. Snezok from Canada says, love the $100 MBA, 5 stars. So much useful info in small bites. I listen every day. Thank you so much, Snezok, for that awesome review. And you are now a new member of the $100 MBA. Just email us at support@businessrepublic.net so we can hook you up with the free ride to the $100 MBA Training and Community. Guys, every week we do this. All you got to do is leave us an iTunes rating and a review, and you too can win a lifetime membership to over 180 video lessons, interviews with experts, workbooks, a whole lot more. Guys, thank you so much for listening today. Don't forget that every weekend we answer your questions on Q&A weekends. If you want to ask a question, just email us at support@businessrepublic.net. Tomorrow and the day after, Saturday, Sunday, we will be answering questions from our listeners. So make sure you hit subscribe so you can hear those answers. All right, guys, before I go, I want to leave you with this. One of the first steps of accomplishing anything is just get the ball rolling. Make things a little easy on yourself just so you can just take the first step. There's so much power in momentum. There's so much power in just getting started. Once you start, once you just take one action, automatically the task seems less intimidating. You start feeling better about it. When you take the next step, you feel even better. So don't forget the power of momentum. Get started, get the ball rolling. All right, guys, I'll check you in tomorrow's episode. Take care.